Hey guys, Datix here. This is Thor, a Vanguard hero that can output a surprising amount of damage. Surprising is the right word, as when he awakens, he brings the storm and the DPS very quickly. But in order to do that, he must manage a unique resource, Thor Force, which sees that all his abilities have short cooldowns. This means he can rush in, disrupt the enemy team by ending their lives, and in turn, help the team. You aren't tanking by protecting anyone per se, you're tanking by reducing the enemy numbers. So first, let's go through his abilities, then let's jump into a real game to see how you can put it all together. Alright, here we are with Thor. First, his left click is a melee attack. As you can see, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it is consistent. This damage will keep coming out. He'll keep swinging the hammer, he won't need to reload. Then his right click is to throw Mjolnir out, hit an enemy, and come back. Take a look at his health. He starts with 600 HP. However, if he throws Mjolnir, it'll come back with an extra 100. There's 800, and that is the max. Now look below the crosshairs. You can see 3 Mjolnir symbols. These are Thor Force. So if you jump into his abilities, attacks, team up abilities, you'll see in the bottom right there, Thor Force. After using an ability, casting Mjolnir Bash grants 1 point of Thor Force. So I'll quickly show that off. If you throw out the hammer twice, you'll see it consumes 2, but if you hit, it regenerates a lot faster. The normal regeneration rate is 1 every 5 seconds roughly, but if you're keeping the pressure on, you should be able to keep that fairly high. Another way to regenerate Thor Force is to use your E. If I hit enough enemies with E, I'll fully regenerate my Thor Force. So you get 1 per enemy hit. So if you hit just 1 with E, it'll go up just 1. If you hit 2, it'll go up 2. Now, why do you want 3 Thor Force? Well, for your F, it makes it so his left click attacks are now range and they do a considerable amount more damage. He also, once I fully regenerate Thor Force here, he also has Mjolnir spin around him, which does a small amount of damage in an AoE around him. This only lasts 5 seconds. You'll also notice his HP. He gets temporary health just like he does from throwing out Mjolnir. So consuming Thor Force seems to grant him temporary health. So once we're back up to 3, you'll notice here that he goes straight up to 800 HP. That's because you consume 3 Thor Force to cast the Awakening Rune, and 200 bonus health is the limit. Next, he has Storm Surge. So this consumes a Thor Force as well. If you hold down left shift, he will charge it up and it will eventually disappear. However, if you let it charge up fully and release it, you'll do a long dash towards the target. It will damage the enemy about the same amount as your left click. As you can see, it doesn't matter if you fully charge it or not. Fully charging just changes the distance, the max distance you'll go. As you can see there, you can just press left shift without fully charging and you will do a short dash. Now keep in mind your right click, throwing out Mjolnir, has a fairly decent range. It is not unlimited though, so if I get all the way back here, you'll notice it doesn't quite reach. So that means Thor has a ideal range, and his ideal range is close to mid-range. Obviously up in their face when you don't have the awakened power on, and about here when you are awakened, so you can still continue to do your abilities. Now, he also has an ultimate. We have the full ultimate now, and it does a fair amount of damage, but just to show off just how much damage it does, I'm going to have to get up someone a little bit tankier. So this is Hero Hulk. He has about 900 HP. So let's just show what it does. To start with, you press Q, you do damage in an area around yourself while you're in the air, and then you slam back down for a little bit more damage. So let's have a quick look at that against someone slightly tankier. So Hero Hulk here has 900 HP. Boom. So it does roughly half of that. Now, numbers will change, which is why I haven't been talking about numbers with Thor, but it does a considerable amount of damage, but it isn't a one-hit kill like a few other ultimates, namely Scarlet Witch. He also has some team-up abilities. Now, if you are Storm in a game with Thor, you'll get an extra ability. You can see at the bottom right there, I have this C ability. If I press it, it's just a chain lightning. Now, it seems to lack any impact and it seems to be cobbled together roughly. So by the time you get your hands on the game, it's probably going to change in some way. Now, if I change over to lightning, as you can see there, it does a little bit of damage. It's not going to be a whole lot. You're better off using an auto attack most times, but between reloading, it might be a nice time to use it. He also has a team up ability with Hela. If I die while Hela's on the team and she gets a kill, it will resurrect me, as you can see here. So you drop a little hammer on the ground in Hela's color scheme, and if she kills something, you'll resurrect. So those are the team up abilities for Thor. So how do you play Thor? Well, it's entirely dependent on your team makeup, but generally speaking, you're going to be the tank or you're going to be an off tank. And what that means is you want to kind of sit in this range, you want to pepper your targets with a little bit of ranged support, and then you want to jump into the fight when you can with your charge and start disrupting the enemy team. You want to make sure to keep your Thor Force high, and then you want to activate your Awakening when you think you can finish off a few enemies and get some kills. Now, when you choose to go into a fight is very important with Thor. He wants to go in when the situation calls for it, when he has enough healers in the backlines keeping him safe, when he has a main tank in the front disrupting everyone, because if he does get targeted, he will be brought down fast. So what you will need to be doing in order to stay safe is to be right in the faces of your enemies, and you want to be killing them before they kill you. That's really Thor's thing. He needs to put out the damage. Then if you have your ultimate charge, you want to get into the middle of a pack and activate it. You can also use it to kind of avoid damage as well. So Thor's kit seems fairly straightforward at a glance. However, it is quite complicated because you don't have long cooldowns with Thor. As you can see, if I throw the hammer out, it's only a 2-second cooldown. That's because he does have that extra resource, the Thor Force. So you want to make sure you don't spam his E. You want to use it perfectly in order to get as much Thor Force back, because it has a very short cooldown. You can keep doing it. You can keep moving around the battlefield, and that's another way to keep safe, is to keep moving. Also, you want to have his F up as much as possible, because this is how you're going to be doing damage. This is how you're going to mitigate damage for your team. You're going to keep enemies needing to focus on you or keeping them dead and respawning. So that's Thor. There really isn't much more to him. There isn't any kind of combat tricks that he has that I can show off, besides the fact that you can hide around the corner, left shift in, and then immediately ultimate to do a crazy amount of damage. Or you can do the same with your Awakening. But like I mentioned, the main thing you need to learn with Thor is when and when not to go in. So if you go in willy-nilly at the start, this is quite a bit of distance that you put between your team and yourself. Sometimes healers won't be able to get to you, like Jeff the Landshark, for example, won't be able to reach you to heal you. So you need to keep safe until you know that your team is there with you, or you can do something for your team, or the enemy team is out of position, and that's usually because you have another tank on your team disrupting them. So learning when to go in is very important with Thor. Learning when to activate your Awakening is very important, though if you get good enough with the character, you should be able to use your E with good timing, or be able to gain up your Thor Force by bashing after a skill and kind of utilizing your abilities together, so you have very small cooldowns on this character. So let's jump into a real game. I think it was my second or third game with Thor, so I make a lot of mistakes, but I just want to run through it just so I can run you through those mistakes and what you should and shouldn't do. Alright, let's get into it. So here we are in game. I'm just rushing to the point. Storm's behind me, so we got there a little bit quicker. then I choose to go in because I know my team is right behind me. This was probably not the best decision, however, I do have a good team, so I'm able to activate my awakening and attempt to get some kills. We do actually secure some kills there. I'm going to keep the pressure on. I'm staying on their vanguard here, Penny Parker, because I don't want her to start laying traps down around the point. I want to keep that point nice and clear and my team on it. Now I'm chasing down Rocket here because I want to secure a kill on their healer, though he has Jeff pocket healing him, so I just kind of draw Jeff back a little bit and kill him off, and we end up getting both of them, so it worked out fairly well. And then for some reason people start suiciding into us, so why not capitalize on that and just start taking them down. So as you can see, Thor keeps the pressure on, and you want to keep the pressure on when you have the advantage. He's really a win more character in a lot of cases. So we push up all the way to their spawn, and I figure at this point we've probably pushed in a little bit too far. Let's get back to the point and ensure that someone doesn't sneak around and try to take it from us. And I was right, there's a storm there. So this demonstrates one of the weaknesses of Thor. You can't hit flying characters if they play well. You can reach them with your left shift, but it does have limited range. You can activate your awakening rune and hit them that way, and that's very effective against flying characters, but it does have a limited duration, so a lot of the time they'll just hide behind a corner until it runs out, and then you're back to being helpless against them. Now you want to pick your targets appropriately. Namor was the priority there, but he gets into the bubble, so I switch and activate the ultimate right before he comes out of it to ensure we get that kill, knowing that my teammates probably would have cleaned him up anyway. So that was a little bit of selfishness there. I just wanted the kill. You'll notice that Luna Snow has her ability on me, meaning she is keeping me topped up with heals. Not noticing that while I was playing. Probably one of the downsides of being a support is you're not going to get appreciated, and unfortunately she doesn't in this game. So I take out Storm fairly easily with the awakened form. Now I mentioned before, Thor's weakness, can't hit flying characters. You absolutely can when you activate the awakening rune. Now that was an easy win. Let's see how it goes with Bifrost Garden. Now I've skipped ahead a bit because you don't want to see me just standing around for a minute. We rush in once again. I'm trying to be upfront. Punisher's beaten me there. Because of the bravado we had last game, I decided just to charge on in. This isn't the right way of doing things, and you can see I'm punished fairly quickly. Luckily, we have a great healer. Keeps me topped up. I should have died then, because remember, in the second game, everyone does keep their ultimate charge, so the whole team could have had an ultimate ready to go. Luckily, it was only Namor. So I just activate my awakening rune and I just lay on into them, knowing that my healers are going to kind of keep me topped up. So that was really because of them that we won that fight. This choke point, a little bit further back than this, I just pick up another kill with the awakening rune, 2 kills actually. This spot here is the ideal spot to fight them as Thor, because you want to fight them in melee and you want to get them into a choke point, because your melee swings do actually cleave. Magneto goes for an attack. I just hide behind the wall, and we're back to pushing them into their respawn. You'll notice that I'm constantly checking behind myself to make sure that my team is not being jumped on by a pesky Vanguard or a Storm, for example. Awakening Rune wears off, so I'm not able to finish her off. So I step back a little bit, let the group get some action. You'll notice that I occasionally charge my left shift. I charge it and don't activate it because I don't want to go in, but I want to have the option to go in if I see something. So that's why I charge it and release. That's a technique you can use as well. Just keep it charged. It does slow your movement speed while it is spinning around, while Mjolnir is spinning around, so don't do it all the time, but do it when you think you're going to want to go in. Now, Doctor Strange has learned, keep to the air, but he doesn't stay in the air forever, so I use that opportunity to activate my ultimate, thinking that I'll get him and a few others. He's actually the only one that survives that, but not for long. Now, awakened form. I want to clean up all of these characters. You'll notice that even though it does have range, I do want to get fairly close to him while I'm using it. Not because he's better up close with it, but because other characters, other heroes are not good in melee. Now, at this point of time, I've drastically overextended. You'll see here, the only reason I survive is because I activate some Thor Force and I got some heals from Lunar Snow, and it wasn't direct heals as well. It was heals based on her left shifty ability where she places a little marker on you and you get healed up incidentally. So we end up winning the second game as well, obviously, considering how much we were absolutely stomping there. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what Thor can do. Quite obviously the MVP there, 25-0. Probably have the most amount of damage and the most amount of damage taken. Yep, there it is. Now, surprisingly, there's not a high amount of healing going on in this game. I assumed they were doing a much better job, but Thor is just naturally tanky, and generating bonus HP for just using your abilities does give you a lot of incidental healing because you're getting bonus health while you're getting damage. Yes, there is a cap of 800, so a 200 bonus health, but if they're knocking you down 100, then you're going to gain another 100, which is basically just healing you every time you use your abilities. So that's Thor. He's tanky, yes, but he can also output quite a bit of damage and disrupt the enemy team. What do you think? Let me know below if this is the kind of character for you, and for everything RPG and Marvel Rivals, you're in the right place. Ciao, friends.